Dr. Freer, we are ready to begin when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mary. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fred Farias, and I am the chairman of the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. It is now 10:46 a.m. and on January 20th, 2021, and I'll call the Committee on Academic Workforce Success meeting to order. This meeting is being held via Zoom. Please be aware that although we are meeting via Zoom, that we have certain etiquette that we would like for everyone to please follow, such as please state your name before you speak, mute your microphone when you're not speaking, and keep background noise to a minimum. Members will begin with a roll call to ensure that we have a quorum. When I call your name, please respond by confirming that you're on the call. Javed Anwar? Cody Campbell?
Here.
Ricky Raven?
Present.
Emma Schwartz?
Here.
Stuart Stedman?
Here, I'm not on the committee, of course, but I am here.
Yes, thank you. Sam Torn?
Here.
Donna Williams?
Here.
Welcome Wilson?
Here.
Levi McClinley? Please record in the minutes that we have a quorum.
Hey,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm here. I just tapped the button.
Okay, thank you, Levi.
Yep.
So just for voting purposes, the members of the committee are Cody Campbell, Emma Schwartz, Sam Torn, Donna Williams, and Welcome Wilson. We'll move on to agenda item 2 is the consideration of approval of minutes for October 21st, 2020 committee meeting. After everyone should have had those in advance and reviewed them, do I have a motion for approval of the October 21st, 2020 minutes of the CAWS committee meeting?
So moved. Cody Campbell.
Moved by Mr. Campbell. A second?
Second, Donna Williams.
Second by Ms. Williams. Thank you, members. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Cody Campbell,
Aye.
Emma Schwartz,
Aye.
Sam Torn,
Aye.
Donna Williams,
Aye.
Welcome Wilson,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so the motion passes. Thank you. We move to agenda item number 3, which is public testimony on agenda items relating to the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. At this time, we do not have anyone registered to testify, so we will move on to the next item, which is agenda item number 4. That is consideration of approval of the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes non-controversial items that we think can be approved without comment or discussion. This will allow us to have more time for other items that we need to have more attention to. Highlighted items are in gray in the consent items on the agenda. Next is the consent calendar. We're going to take up the consent calendar in 2 parts, the non-rule items and then the rule items. Of course, any board member can request at any time any of the agenda items be added or removed from the consent calendar. Items listed on the non-rule consent calendar for this meeting are agenda item 5F, which is consideration of approving the appointment of members to the Applied Texas Advisory Committee. At this time, I would like to take the following items and move them to consent. Agenda item 5A, consideration of the approval of certification required by Education Code 62.146 for the National Research University Fund for fiscal year 2020. Agenda item 5C, consideration of adopting the report on development education, Rider 32, 86th Texas Legislature regular session, as well as agenda item 5D, consideration of adopting the July 2020 annual compliance reports for institutions under Certificate of Authorization, names beginning with the letters P through Z. And agenda item 5G, consideration of approving the allocation of funds for completion models that can scale and enhance core strategies for successful completions for students in their second semester. Are there any other agenda items that anyone would like to add to the non-rule consent calendar? Are there any agenda items that anyone wants to remove from the consent calendar? If not, do I have a motion for the non-rule consent calendar as amended?
So moved, Emma Schwartz.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Schwartz. Do I have a second?
Second, Sam Torn.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Torn. Is there any discussion on the topics? If not, members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
Four.
Ms. Schwartz,
4.
Mr. Torn,
Four.
Ms. Williams,
4.
Mr. Wilson,
4.
and I vote for, so the motion passes. Thank you, members. Members, the next item on the consent calendar are the rule items. The rules placed on the consent calendar are those that are either technical, conforming, or implement non-controversial policies around which there is consensus. Agenda items 5H1 through 3 apply to those. 5H1 is consideration of adopting the proposed repeals of Texas Administrative Code Title 19, Part 1, Chapter 4, Subchapter N, Sections 4.22711 and 4.229 of Board Rules concerning public access to course information. 5H2 is consideration of adopting proposal amendments for Title 19, Part 1, Chapter 13, Subchapter G, Sections 13.122 and 13.126 of Board Rules concerning restricted research expenditures. And 5H3, considerations of adopting the proposed repeal of Title 19, Part 1, Chapter 13, Subchapter K, Sections 13.190 and through 13.197 of Board Rules concerning the Technology Workforce Development Grant Program. Are there any rules that anyone wants to remove from the rule consent calendar? If not, do I have a motion for approval of the amended rule consent calendar?
So moved. This is Donna Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do I have a second?
Emma Schwartz, second.
Thank you. I have a second by Ms. Schwartz. And is there any discussion? Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. And by the way, I do meet in advance of all these rules. I know that y'all are wondering all these with the staff, and so we do review these rules very carefully. And I know you have these in advance in your packets. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
4.
Ms. Schwartz.
4.
Mr. Torn.
4.
Ms. Williams.
4.
Mr. Wilson.
4.
Great, motion passes and I vote for as well. So the motion passes, thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 5A, which was approved on consent. Agenda items 5B is a consideration of adopting the report regarding compliance by post-secondary educational institutions on reporting incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking required by Texas Education Code 51.258. Dr. Tina Jackson, Assistant Commissioner for Workforce Education, Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs, and Mr. Mark Hale, Assistant Commissioner for Internal Audit and Compliance, will present this item and be available to answer questions. Welcome, panel.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. At this time, I'd like to introduce our new Assistant Commissioner for Workforce Education, Dr. Tina Jackson. And in the
Hello,
future,
everyone.
we're so happy to have you here with us. Also, in the future, this item will be part of Dr. Jackson's portfolio. The 86th Texas Legislature recognized the need for accurate reporting of certain incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking at public, private, and independent institutions of higher education through its passage of Senate Bill 212 and House Bill 75, codified as Texas Education Code, Chapter 51, subchapters E2 and E3. The two subchapters require institutions to submit reports and requires the coordinating board also submit reports to legislative leadership. Subchapter 2E requires the chief executive officers of post-secondary educational institutions to annually certify that their institution is in substantial compliance with the subchapter. Through the process of negotiated rulemaking, subchapter E3 requirements became effective August 1st. A report including substantial compliance with subchapter E3 requirements will be submitted to the governor, lieutenant governor, speaker of the House of Representatives, and the standing legislative committees with primary jurisdiction over legislation concerning sexual assault at post-secondary educational institutions. At this time, I'd like to invite Mark Hale, Assistant Commissioner for Internal Audit and Compliance, to provide the management response which was shared with you under a separate cover.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman and Dr. Frias. Members, good morning. Our compliance work in this area for the inaugural year of implementation for this legislation was really focused on completeness. That is, were all of the required CEO certification reports for the 204 reporting units received by the coordinating board, and the legislation called for the receipt of these by October 31st. So our initial report dated December 9th, it's in your materials, noted that all 204 reports were received, but that 19 institutions at that time either did not have the reports posted on their websites as required or had other discrepancies associated with their information. So we provided an addendum report that you also have in your materials dated January 5th that has reduced those discrepancies with institutions down to 3 institutions. So Dr. Ray Martinez, Dr. Silverman, and their team have continued the dialogue with these 3 institutions, and we are working with them to resolve those final discrepancies. I would say it's important to note that none of the discrepancies noted in either the original report or in the addendum are expected to rise anywhere near the level of the legislative level of substantial non-compliance. So unless there are any questions, I'll be turning it back over to Dr. Silverman. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mark. The recommendation is for approval.
Okay. First, let me welcome Dr. Jackson to the coordinating board, and we've had a chance to visit on a call before, so welcome to the team.
Thank you so much.
So do the members of the committee have any questions for Dr. Jackson, Dr. Silverman, or Mr. Pale on this particular issue? Okay, if not, do I have a motion for approval for the report?
So move, Welcome Wilson.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Mr. Wilson. Do I have a second?
Second, Donna Williams.
Thank you. Second by Ms. Williams. Any discussion? If not, members, when I call your name, please signify voting in favor or against. Mr. Campbell.
4.
Ms. Schwartz.
4.
Mr. Torn.
4.
Ms. Williams.
4.
Mr. Wilson.
4.
And I vote for, so thank you. The motion passes. Okay, we move on to agenda item 5C and 5D, and they were approved on the consent calendar. Agenda item 5E1 is consideration of approving the request for the Prairie View A&M University for a Doctor of Business Administration, DBA, degree with a major in business administration. We do have some guests here. I'll introduce them after we have the presentation by Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs, will present this item and be available to answer questions. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Frias. Prairie View A&M is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Business Administration degree program. The proposed program would require 60 semester credit hours beyond a required Master of Business Administration and is slated to begin in fall of 2021. The proposed program would be offered in a hybrid format at Prairie View A&M's Northwest Houston Center located in Houston. The cohort-based curriculum would take an estimated 3 years to complete. Projected enrollment would begin with 10 students and increase to a total of 42 students by the 5th year. Prairie View will not seek formula funding for the proposed program, and the estimated 5-year cost for the program is just over $3 million. The institution will seek accreditation for the proposed program from the Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business upon the graduation of its first cohort. The institution will submit 3 reports in years 1, 3, and 5, confirming institutional commitments and assessing the progress of the program's implementation. There are representatives available to address questions, and the recommendation is for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. So Prairie A&M University representatives, we have Dr. James M. Palmer, who's the Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, as well as Dr. Munir Kudas, I hope I got that right, who's the Dean of the College of Business. If you are both on, I believe you are, if you'd like to say a few words, we'd welcome you to do so at this time.
Hi, this is James Palmer, the Provost. This is an exciting program for us. It aligns very well with our HBCU and 1890 land grant mission, and it has the full support of the university. And I will turn to Dr. Munir Kudus, our Dean, to add a few more comments, particularly about how this is different from the MBA, the executive MBA, and also how it would contribute to our workforce development. But Dr. Kudus will make our comments short.
Thank you, Dr. Palmer. This is Munir Kudus, Dean College of Business. I just want to add to what Dr. Palmer has said. The proposed DBA is a professional degree, which is designed for practitioner scholars. The concept of an executive DBA is been around in Europe, so it's an import here. It has been around for about 5 years. We have 25 different institutions across the country offering this program, including University of South Florida, University of Missouri, St. Louis, and Georgia State University. They've done it for a number of years with success. One of the main motivations behind the new degree was an urgent recognition that the supply of doctoral faculty in the business schools has failed to keep up with the increasing global demand for such professionals. And unless it was addressed immediately, there could be a negative impact on the state of the workforce, especially in higher education, and in upper business management, where data-driven decision-making is important. In response, the AACSB International, the premier accrediting body for business schools, established a Blue Ribbon Commission in 2013. And the commission recommended that business schools interested should offer a 3-year part-time research-based program positioned for senior executives looking to apply relevant knowledge and research skills to contemporary business problems in their industry. Candidates also are expected to maintain their full-time jobs throughout the duration of the program and apply their workplace needs and issues to their research. An important motivation for Prairie A&M University to offer this program are the benefits to the workforce in Greater Houston and adjacent cities, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, home of about 10 million residents. Our own market demand study conducted by Gilbreth shows that the DBA would have broad appeal for executives and professionals who wish to strengthen the resume and keep up with the increasingly data-driven economy and decision-making. We anticipate a certain percentage of the graduates to stay in business, be promoted, or move to another company. Another segment would leave business for academia, finding jobs in community colleges and universities. They would teach, and perhaps given their business background, they could also serve as high school principals, deans, and presidents. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a very good explanation. You answered the questions I had. Very good on the perspective of the job. And thank you both for all the great work that y'all are doing at Prairie View A&M for our state and the service to the students. So keep up the good work there. Is there any comments? Yes, sir. Any comments or discussion from committee members for our guests?
This is Ricky Raven. I had a question. Is there currently a MBA program being offered at Prairie View?
Yes, we've had an MBA program for more than 20 years. We also have a fully online MBA program and an executive MBA program. So we have the MBA in 3 different formats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for our speakers? Thank you all for being here on our Zoom call and appreciate your presentations.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Silverman on the details or the specifics of the program? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Donna Williams, proud Prairie View alumni.
That's right. Our board member Williams is a proud alumni of Prairie View. Thank you for reminding us. I knew that. Very good. Do I have a second?
Emma Schwartz will second.
Second by Ms. Schwartz. All in favor? Let's go down the line. I now have a motion. Any discussion? Okay, if no discussion on this item, that's good. 5E1. Mr. Campbell.
Approved.
Okay, Ms. Schwartz.
4.
Mr. Torn.
4.
Ms. Williams.
4.
Mr. Wilson,
4.
and I vote for, so motion passes. Congratulations. Very nice. Okay, we are now moving on to 5E2, which is a consideration of approving the request from the University of Houston for a Doctor of Nursing Practice, DNP, a degree with a major in nursing practice. Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner of Academic and Health Affairs, will present the item and be available to answer questions. And then we also have guests representing the University of Houston.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. The University of Houston is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Nursing Practice degree. The proposed program would prepare family nurse practitioners and nurse executives educated at the doctoral level to address the shortages of primary care providers, nurse educators, and leaders in complex healthcare environments. The DNP would be a part-time or full-time postmaster's program designed for working nurses and would utilize a face-to-face with an online component delivery method. Students would choose between two emphasis areas, family nurse practitioner or administration. The proposed DNP would require face-to-face experiences, particularly in clinical settings. The DNP would consist of 36 semester credit hours beyond the master's degree. The institution estimates the enrollment will begin with 7 students and increase to 22 students in the 5th year. The estimated cost for the program for the first 5 years is just over $3 million. In accordance with the institution's proposed hiring schedule, U of H will hire 2 core faculty members in the first year of the program. By June 1 of that year, the institution will provide documentation of the hires and a list of the nursing practice courses to be taught. The institution will seek accreditation for the DNP program from the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. Additionally, the institution will submit 3 reports in years 1, 3, and 5, confirming institutional commitments and assessing the progress of the program's implementation. There are representatives available to address questions, and the recommendation is for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. Yeah, I'd like to introduce those guests from the University of Houston, Dr. Kathleen Reeve, who is the Associate Dean, MSN Director, Clinical Professor, Dr. Catherine Tartt, who is actually the founding Dean and Professor, and Dr. Paula Short, who's the Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, U of H System Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost of the University of Houston. Welcome. Would you like to say a few words? Dr. Reeve, Dr. Tartt, or Dr. Short?
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can now. Yes, Dr. Tartt.
Okay, I think Dr. Short is trying to say something, but
okay.
Dr. Short, you're muted. Excuse me.
No, I'm not.
There you are. There you are. Now we can hear you.
Okay.
How are you, Dr. Short?
Not good connections. So good morning. It's indeed a pleasure to see all of the members of the committee and to be here with you. As Senior Vice President and Provost, I'm here to demonstrate institutional support for the DNP. We're very excited about it. We know how hard Dean Tartt and her colleagues have worked to develop the proposal. I have been involved in the reviews and so forth, so I know it well. And I'm here to say it really is a wonderful proposal, and we hope that it will bring the opportunity for the preparation of executive level nurses because of the intense critical need for individuals at this leadership level in the state of Texas. So I'm going to turn it over to founding Dean Catherine Tartt, who will give you an overview of the program. Dean Tartt.
Thank you so very much. And thank you for the opportunity to speak today to the board. We are pleased to be able to present this program. We have a stellar record with our participation and our teaching at the University of Houston in the College of Nursing. For 5 of the years since we have been under the umbrella of the University of Houston, we have a 100% pass rate on our national licensure exam. That puts us really in the top 5% of the nation for our undergraduate program, which builds very well into our master's program and this new program as a postmaster's doctoral program. Moreover, for every single one of our nurse practitioner graduates, we have 100% pass rate on the national certification exam for family nurse practitioners. We have a 85% retention rate for our undergraduate students and the same for our graduate students. So we have built a stellar program under the auspices and in the umbrella of the University of Houston. We now sit, and what makes us very unique is that we sit in a fully comprehensive university that provides so many resources for this program and for our alumni, for our employers, and also in the interests of our donors who are very interested in participating with us as we grow this program to meet the workforce needs of our state. The Texas Nurses Association has given us the numbers of needing 74,000 more nurses by the year 2030. I really don't like to say this, but COVID has really put a dent in the work that we do. We are very fortunate to see an increase in enrollment at the University of Houston's College of Nursing. But we know that our nurses are the average age of 46. Many people are retiring early. There has been fallout, I do believe, from COVID. So I think this number is going to increase for the shortage. That's my projection based on what I see in the marketplace and what I see in education. But the College of Nursing will be there to be able to elevate the education of these very, very dedicated nurses to the doctoral degree for nursing practice in 2 tracks, in the education of nurse administrators and family nurse practitioners. And that is our goal in a Tier 1 institution, to bring forth this first doctoral degree to the University of Houston. So I would like you to hear all of that, and thank you so much to the coordinating board and the staff for their guidance as we've moved through. This has been a long process for us, and we are thrilled to be able to present it to this group today.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yes.
I will congratulate you on your pass rate. I served as chair of a professional organization's licensing chair committee, and I will tell you that's excellent. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Have 100% pass rate of graduates in a professional program is to be celebrated.
And we do. We celebrate.
That's great. Great. Yes. Is Dr. Reeve going to say a few words, or is welcome to, if Dr. Kathleen Reeve is on? If not, we can move on. Any questions, board members?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I had just a quick question. This is Ricky Raven for Professor Tartt. In light of what we know about the shortages with nurses, it's interesting you should bring that up. That was a very interesting article in the New York Times this past Sunday on the reduction in nurses as a result of COVID,
yes,
specifically dealing with nurses of Filipino descent. That it has, for some reason, has had a very impactful, devastatingly impactful effect on nurses who, from that ethnic demographic. And I didn't know this, but I actually learned this in the case I worked on, that that is a very highly thought of and highly sought profession among Filipinos.
Yes, sir.
As a part of your program, do you have any outreach mechanisms for high school students, for college students? Because it seems like if we have that big of a shortage, that we need to undertake some efforts other than hoping that young people want to become a nurse.
Thank you for your question. part of what we pride ourselves on at the University of Houston is that we are in a fully comprehensive university. And so we also have won for 4 years in a row the Health Professions Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award. It's the only national award given for diversity and inclusion in higher education. We have that alongside of our College of Law and the University of Houston itself. So with that, we look for diversity within our faculty, within our staff and our students. It's important, dare I say critical, that we mirror the patients that we serve. That is part of our mission. Diversity is within our mission. One of the things that we have been privileged to be able to do under the University of Houston is that we are part of the GPS with our provost for articulation agreements between community colleges and the University of Houston. The College of Nursing currently has 14 articulation agreements with community colleges that their students come to us into the RN to BSN program. The second piece that we have done, particularly to your question, is that we have instituted what we call a traditional BSN track with the Board of Nursing. And that is for students who want to come to the University of Houston as pre-licensure students, freshmen and sophomore students, who then want to continue into the nursing major. So they come to us as pre-nursing students, and then they can continue, if they meet the criteria, for pre-nursing. So that brings them now all the way from high school through the program. The junior and senior year for that program are done at the university at Katy campus, our wonderful new facility that we have there with a wonderful simulation center. So it allows us to support nursing education, not only at the University of Houston, but also within the greater Houston area, which is part of our strategic plan at the University of Houston. So we are addressing, and we know that we have to start early on and moving our people forward for these very important roles that we serve in our state. I hope that answers your question.
It did indeed. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I just want to commend you on the program. I've been having a lot of conversations recently with people on nurse burnout when they get to higher levels of administration. And so it's really great that you're creating this program to give them the tools they need to be more successful, as we need more nurses in those positions. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Schwartz.
So I have a follow-up question. This is Sam Torn. It's a two-part question, and it's mainly for my own education because I fully support this initiative. So the first question, as I understand it, the big need we have across the country, if not around the world, and particularly in the state of Texas, is for more nurses. Is that correct?
It is a need, yes.
Okay, and so the second part of my question is this: is the primary purpose of this degree a doctoral degree in nurse practitioner so that you will have the resources, the human capital to educate more nurses? Is that the primary goal of this degree program?
That's a very good question. The primary purpose is for advanced practice. So what do we mean by advanced practice? Because it is a practice doctorate. So this is to allow nurses to practice at the highest level within the American Association of Colleges of Nursing educational trajectory. But, and I'm going to answer your question, but what it allows us to do also, because these folks have a doctoral degree, is that they can also teach. And we have to have them helping us to teach our students in these practice roles. So they get to, it's kind of an opportunity, right? They get to be able to do both of these things. And these are the things nurses love. We love to practice our profession and we love to teach. And this is at the highest level that is offered to our students. And so we get to do both.
Okay, well, so I think my basic inquiry, and we've discussed this previously at the committee and the board level, is this: what in general is being done in this state to recruit more nurses, which are so desperately needed?
We need more educators. So this helps us. This program helps us in that regard because it helps us to have more people who are at that highest level to be able to teach at the practice level, at the bedside, to make sure that we have the good public health that we need, to make sure that we have the administrations that we need to lead out these nurses. So we have to have more people in the pipeline. We have to have more people at the level of the bachelor's degree or higher so that they can move forward. Nursing, I hope you all know this very clearly. At the associate degree level, we need to move those students forward to the bachelor's degree so that they can move on to graduate degrees. And so this is our goal. We see that pipeline moving us forward. Remember, nurses, more than many, are their primary breadwinners in their homes, and it takes them quite a long time, many times, to move forward quickly within the profession. So that's why we have to have a part-time program within this track, because most of our nurses who will be our students will also be working at the bedside as nurses and going to school. So these are very dedicated individuals. And that's what we need. We need the support of the coordinating board behind us to say, yes, this is where we need to go as a profession. And yes, we're going to help you. Scholarships are important. We work very hard with the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board for our funding. All these things make a huge difference in helping us move forward. Dare I say, it is on our shoulders as universities and community colleges to provide this workforce for the health of our state. So we find this very, very important, and it is our mission to be able to support and serve our communities.
Well, so Mr. Chairman, I'm not trying to take up a bunch of time, but I still have a follow-up on that. And that's this. Yeah. Real quickly, yes or no, is your program, do you have a waiting list for nurses to get into your basic nursing program?
So we had more students apply than we've ever had before to our program this past year. It was right at 2,000. And we don't have what we call a waiting list because we admit cohorts. So once we admit that cohort, there's a lot that has to go through. And from that cohort now, we have 81 students that we've admitted for this spring, for example. So we have seen an uptick, yes. We do not have people on a waiting list because once they've met the criteria and we've admitted them, we can't keep them on a list because the semester has already started.
But my question is 81 a full class?
Yeah, for us it is right now. For us it is, yes. Okay,
because previously,
and we'd like to grow more. We have plans for growing more, but yes, right now. Yes,
in our previous committee meeting, we saw a very disturbing statistic of a decrease in enrollment, particularly in two-year colleges and particularly among certain demographic groups. And it seems to me this is such a needed field. It's a well-paying field that we need to figure out a way to get more students educated and trained as nurses, because we kill two birds with one stone. So that's the purpose of my inquiry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Torn, that's a very good question. You're right. We've talked about it in this committee and as board members in our board meetings, because I guess the question to the root of the problem, he's right. We definitely we have a shortage of nurses, but yet what is the University of Houston or other programs, other higher ed institutions in the state doing prior to getting into nursing school? How do we get students at an early age involved in getting interested in nursing? And what are you doing in terms of recruitment? I think that's the key. I think Mr. Torn is exactly right. You're doing a great job of what you're doing from the higher ed standpoint. Once you get the associates and once you get nursing, getting these upper division master's program and doctorates in nursing, doing a great job at that. But how do we get more younger folks involved in terms of getting involved with the profession and getting them into the system like the University of Houston and other institutions of nursing in our state? Because that's where it all starts, right?
Right, right.
So do you have how do you
Well,
recruit to that level, or do you do that?
Yes, so right now we do recruit at the University of Houston for our what we call our pre-nursing program. And that is within our high schools, it's on our websites, we do orientations, we do information sessions, we invite families. We do the things that we can do within the university. I'm telling you, I recruit in the grocery line all the time. So I hope all of you will recruit for nursing as well. And it, you know, this we are very fortunate. We're the only professional program in an undergraduate degree. So we see that as something that's very different. So it's not like medicine, right, where they start their professional degree in a graduate program. We start in an undergraduate program. So sometimes it's just it's a place where people have to discern what it is. But I will tell you, our high school advisors, our biology teachers, all of these folks, if they can help us as well to recruit into these very needed areas, it is very important in that regard. But they're very young, right? They're young, and there's a piece of discernment. You know, when you can't do your chemistry classes or you can't do your biology classes, you know, maybe nursing's not for you. But those who can, this becomes a wonderful career for the rest of your life, and it's a servant's heart.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think y'all are doing a great job. But I think to Mr. Torn's part is, yes, we always hear we have shortages.
Yes.
But what are we doing to get people into the pipeline? And I think that's
Let me just add, this is Kathleen Reed, and I just want to add, I'm sorry I couldn't get on earlier. And Dr. Tartt has just done a fabulous job of explaining all this, but I have to put an exclamation mark on this. If this is approved, we are going to prepare many more educators, and that's what we need. We need more educators, and then we can increase the numbers of undergraduate students that we can prepare at the bedside. We can't do that without more educators. These kinds of programs that are before you today can do that, as well as provide care for individuals.
No, I think we understand that. Thank you, Doctor, for reiterating that. We do. I think it's just the state, just the numbers of the state and the healthcare issues that we're having, that we all value nursing, obviously, and we definitely appreciate the work that y'all are doing, and you know, this committee really supports just everything that you do as far as nursing for our state, for all the schools in the state. But we appreciate the work you're doing and bringing this proposal forward to the committee because it can only advance, like you say, nursing, teaching, and care for the future.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank y'all. And by the way, I like y'all's background. Very nice.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Keller, I would suggest that this is a micro look at the macro problem we just discussed, and we just need to figure out a way to connect the dots. And with that, I move approval of this degree program.
Thank you, Mr. Torn, and thank you for your comments. So I have a motion on the floor, Mr. Torn, for the approval of the program at the University of Houston in the School of Nursing, and I have a second from Mr. Wilson. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Campbell.
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz.
Aye.
Mr. Torn.
Aye.
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so the motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you all for being here and presenting. Okay, members, we will now move on to the next item on the agenda, agenda item 5E3, which is consideration of approving the request from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley for a Doctor of Philosophy PhD degree with a major in mathematics and statistics with interdisciplinary applications. We have guests from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, but first, Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs will present the item and be available to answer questions. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Philosophy degree in mathematics and statistics with interdisciplinary applications. The proposed program would begin in fall 2021 and require 60 semester credit hours beyond a master's degree or 78 semester credit hours beyond a bachelor's degree. The proposed program would be offered face-to-face to students primarily at the Edinburgh campus, and the proposed program could be completed in 3 to 4 years. The institution estimates that 8 students will be enrolled in the first year and increase to 28 students in the 5th year of the program. The estimated cost for the proposed program is just under $3 million, and the institution will submit 3 reports in years 1, 3, and 5, confirming institutional commitments and assessing the progress of the program's implementation. There are representatives available to address the questions that you may have, and the recommendation is for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. I'd like to introduce Dr. Guy Bailey, the president of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Also joining us on the call, Dr. Vivian Insera, the dean of the College of Sciences. I'd like to say a few words, and also Dr. Jana Arney, the deputy president and interim provost, are available. Please join us.
Thank you so much. Just a few words. I was reminded of the importance of this program on Monday. I was able to take a tour of SpaceX down at Boca Chica, and my guided tour was given to me by a graduate from a program just like this in California. And she pointed out to me that most of the people doing the logistics at SpaceX, and it is a remarkable logistical achievement, had PhDs, advanced degrees in mathematics and statistics. So I think what we're doing here is, especially because of the interdisciplinary applications, remember this is an applied degree, lines up very nicely with workforce applications. We're very pleased with this degree. It's right in the center of our mission, and we think it'll make tremendous contributions. If you have specific questions about the program, either Dr. Insera or Dr. Arney can answer those questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, Dr. Bailey. Dr. Arney or Dr. Insera, do you have any comments you'd like to add? If not, that's
just
fine.
very briefly, I think Dr. Bailey said the essence of the program. I think that I always think of this program as a step in the direction of what made the Silicon Valley what it is today, right? And you first need the skilled workforce, and interdisciplinary is the word for 21st century success in the STEM field. So this program, the interdisciplinary character, is what would make these graduates very, very special for all kinds of industry. Space science industry, health sciences. You know, the name of the degree is mathematics, but the specialization is mathematics applied to all these areas. So I think that it will move the Rio Grande Valley in the right direction to become the next Silicon Valley. And I don't think that's a dream. I think that's a possible realizable dream. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Dr. Arney, would you like to say a few words?
I think they've both covered it quite well. I think the other piece I might add is it provides just a natural pathway for our students. We don't currently have those options available for our students, and this is just such an important pathway for our students to have to complete their graduate degree and to complete their doctorate at UTRGV with the interdisciplinary nature of this program. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arney, Dr. Bailey, and Dr. Insera. Members, any questions for Dr. Silverman or any of our panelists? If not, I will make the motion for the approval of the request for University of Texas Rio Grande Valley for a Doctor of Philosophy degree with a major in mathematics and statistics with interdisciplinary applications, which I agree will be great for the region, but really the whole state, but specifically down the valley, what Dr. Bailey said about SpaceX and all that's happening, and the great faculty and the student opportunities are going to be tremendous. So thank you all for presenting this program. Do I have a second?
So moved, Donna Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. So a second by Ms. Williams. And next, is there any discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz,
Aye.
Mr. Torn,
Aye.
Ms. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so the motion passes. Congratulations. Next, we'll move on to agenda item 5E4, which is consideration of approving the request for the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley for the Doctor of Nursing Practice, a DNP degree with a major in nursing practice. Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic and Health Affairs, will present this item and be able to answer questions. And then we have a guest as well from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is seeking approval to offer the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree program. The online postmaster's program would require 45 semester credit hours beginning in fall 2021. The proposed program would prepare family nurse practitioners educated at the doctoral level to address the shortages of primary care providers, nursing educators, and become leaders in complex healthcare environments. The proposed program anticipates the first year enrollment of 14 students, increasing to 28 students in the 5th year. The estimated 5-year costs are just over $6 million. In accordance with the institution's proposed hiring schedule, UTRGV will hire 1 core faculty member in the first year of the program. By June 1st of that year, the institution will provide documentation of the hire along with a list of nursing practice courses to be taught. The institution will seek accreditation for the DNP program from the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education, and the institution will submit 3 reports in years 1, 3, and 5, confirming institutional commitments and assessing the progress of the program's implementation. There are representatives available to address the question, any questions you may have, and the recommendation is for approval.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. Again, we have Dr. Guy Bailey, President with the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley with us. Dr. John Kraus, Executive Vice President, Health Affairs and Dean of the School of Medicine, as well as Dr. Sharon Redmaninsky, who's the Dean of the School of Nursing. Welcome.
Thank you. Again, this is a crucial program to our development. As most of you probably know, we are a medically underserved area. And so nurse practitioners have a tremendous role in helping meet the shortage of healthcare professionals, shortage of doctors. And so their ability to do advanced practice is key there. By the way, the nursing pipeline, which you addressed earlier, we have far more eligible, qualified people who want to go into nursing than we could admit. Our undergraduate program is bursting at the seams. We need more people to teach them, in all honesty. It's very hard, as you probably already know, it's very hard to hire nursing faculty members. So doctorally trained people are absolutely crucial for us. In any event, this is a crucial program, not just for us, but for the Rio Grande Valley. And Dean Kraus Vice President Kraus can answer any specific questions you have.
Thanks, Dr. Bailey. I would echo what you say. The focus of this program is interprofessional collaborative practice. This is really a key method of delivering healthcare that leverages the strengths of various health providers. And we at UTRGV are building these professional programs in order to bring much needed healthcare resources to the Valley. The Valley has not had resources across this spectrum. And as Dr. Bailey said, and relevant to the earlier conversation, we have 700 to 800 applicants for our nursing program annually, which can only take 130 people because of the lack of educators. So this will not only improve the practice in the Valley, it will allow us to begin to increase the number of qualified nurse educators, which really is critical to improve the pipeline. So I'm also happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Dr. Kraus. Yes, is the dean available?
I'm not sure she is made the call.
Okay. No worries, that's fine. Thank you, Dr. Bailey. Any questions for Dr. Silverman, Dr. Bailey, or Dr. Kraus from the committee members?
I would just, one question, a general question is, in your opinion, what can we do specifically at the coordinating board to help move this need filling this need forward? And what can the legislature do this session in order to help the industry in Texas move this need forward?
Yeah, Dr. Kraus can probably answer this better than I, except I will point out we need more doctorally trained nurses so we can educate more nurses. It's not that we don't, we turn away people from our nursing program who have 3.8, 3.7 GPAs. They're tremendous students. They would be tremendous nurses. We just need more help in educating those people.
Right. Part of the issue also, and to answer your question, is well-trained nurse practitioners and graduate trained nurses make significantly higher salaries in practice than they do in higher education. So if there was an opportunity to provide some sort of support to increase or to add stipend or to bring that up to a little bit better parity, it would be easier for us to attract those educators who are simply hired away by clinical sites.
Right. And that's a good point. Different parts of the region have different needs in terms of nursing. Dr. Kraus is exactly right. Down here in the Valley, we're blessed in a way that we're able to have a lot of great applicants qualified, but we do need the teachers. We need the educators. And other parts of the state, there's a shortage of applicants. And so it just depends. But Mr. Wilson's question was very good. What can the legislature do? Well, one, they can help fund our Health Science Center and Medical School down here at UTRGV, which is one of our top legislative priorities. That's one big thing they can do, Mr. Wilson. But other than that, it's really educating, and this is what it's about in terms of the doctorate level program. So I follow very closely, with Dr. Bailey and Dr. Kraus, the great work that they're doing down here in the Valley, and really it's also educating not just people for the Valley, but people that come down here to the Valley for other parts of the state that go back to other parts of our state that also serve other parts. But you're right; these are opportunities that have never been available to the Valley. And our population's growing, and it's just great to see the Health Science Center grow and to get back to the community. And adding these doctoral programs is like the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for Dr. Silverman? If not, I would like to make the motion for approval of the request for the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley for the Doctor of Nursing Practice, DNP, degree with a major in nursing practice. Do I have a second?
I'll second Ms. Schwartz.
Thank you, Ms. Schwartz. Second by Ms. Schwartz. Is there any discussion? If not, members, when I call your name, please vote by saying aye or vote nay. Mr. Campbell.
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Torn.
Aye.
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the motion passes. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. Okay, we're now moving on to agenda items 5F and 5G, which were approved on consent. Agenda items 5H is lunch, but due to the speed that we're moving through the agenda, we will not break for lunch. So we'll go on to agenda item 5I1 through 5I3, which are approved on the consent calendar. And agenda item 6 is adjournment. If there's no further discussion, is there any? Hearing none, do I have a motion for adjournment of the committee meeting?
So moved, Sam Torn.
Thank you. A motion by Mr. Torn. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Schwartz. Is that right?
Williams.
Ms. Williams, thank you for the record. Second by Ms. Williams. And Mr. Campbell, all voting aye or nay? Mr. Campbell.
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz.
Aye.
Mr. Torn.
Aye.
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion passes. We'll now take a short break to allow the staff to set up for the Agency Operations Committee meeting. Members, please remain on the call. The next meeting will begin shortly. Thank you all.